I'm Ali Ponton. I run Viewpoint Research Community Interest Company. We a social enterprise. We do market research. We do customer feedback surveys. With a lot of work in the public sector, but with private companies as well. All over the phone, and the social aim is all about employing people who need a route back into work, or who have never worked due to a disability or a disadvantage of some form or another. I signed up because I'd been told over and over again, over many years really, that I needed to be working more on social media, and that was a way of selling our business and our service. And I listened to that many times and ignored it, or accepted it but then ignored it because I just didn't know where to start, or even when I was showed where to start, I then didn't act on it, and just basically was not, almost anti-social media, I suppose, really. So it just I never got around to it. It was always bottom of the list of things to do, but more and more I've just accepted that I do have to be part of it, and for the business to sort of reach its full potential, we need to be working digitally rather than just not, I suppose. So so that was the main motivation.
Yeah. What would you say were? I mean, one of the things that we look at quite early on, didn't we, was around having a brew with your demons.
Yeah.
What would you say yours were, or your main?
Yeah, I mean, that was a really valuable part of the course in terms of airing those, and I think particularly in terms of sharing them with the other people on the course, because you realise that people are very similar demons, I suppose, and actually. I think one important aspect was to realise you weren't in this. You were in the same boat as other people, and you weren't alone in how you felt about this thing. So I think certainly some of the main ones was that I don't like the idea of self-promotion, I suppose. So in terms of the idea of writing anything in public saying how good you are or how wonderful your business is, sort of instinctively I'm anti that, and I don't like the idea of selling, I suppose, which is daft because I appreciate that business needs to sell to survive, but I've always liked to do selling where people, we've almost got a joint agreement that we both like each other or like each other's services before we get to that point. Yeah. And this social media has always felt like a very sort of cold, almost on a par of cold calling, I suppose. So that's been something I haven't liked. I mean, I generally just dislike social media. So I don't like. I suppose in a technical way, I've always sort of panicked about tweeting something or putting anything on Facebook because you're just like, oh, you're exposing yourself to the world, and I don't like it when people tweet pictures of their breakfast and go on about how wonderful their life is, and I don't really like it. I just don't you think, oh, that's the last thing I'd ever want to do. Yeah. And so that's been an extension of how I've seen things like LinkedIn and Twitter is kind of an experience of reading other people's Facebook posts, I suppose. And I thought, so I've just kind of seen it all as the same thing. And so yeah, really, I had a number of issues with it.
And how has being member of the academy sort of helped you with those demons in any way, would you say?
Yeah, very much. So I think being able to talk those through with other people has been a real benefit. A lot of shared experience and shared ideas about how to get over those fears. And you start to, I think, one thing the academy has taught me is that you need to. That people will be interested in what you've got to say, if you just be yourself and say it in a way that you're comfortable with, and not to really people who don't like what you've got to say probably won't have connected with you in the first place, or certainly they're just not going to bother reading it, just like you don't bother reading stuff. And actually, people won't actively dislike what you've got to say; they just won't be interested in it.
Yeah.
And if you kind of take that emotion out of it, and actually you can learn, just see it as a process that you can learn, much as you would any other task. That you can learn the rules of it and become an expert in it, just like you can with anything else. But just try and take that emotional element out of it, and then so that's been a big help. And I think, like I say, talking to other people who've shared those has been really helpful in kind of formulating those views, because some of those sort of conclusions you weren't necessarily able to come to yourself. Just exploring what other part of the academy you're exploring, what other people in your industry or people that you want to connect with are doing on social media, and you look at it and think, well, actually, that's fine, I can do that. And you can actually see where you can add value to their conversations. So I think that's and you think, well, actually, in that instance, I wouldn't be a pain or self-promoting. I'd actually be quite useful. So that's it's a different way of looking at it. And but yeah, I feel so much more confident now of engaging with social media and using it. Going forwards now, you kind of have 5 sort of critical friends, I suppose, that can help you with what you're doing, so they all understand where you've come from and what your aims are. And that certainly that's really helped. I mean, on the course, we at various stages we've buddied up with either in pairs or in threes or however, and so you've got people to help with your ideas and help formulate those. And actually, I think that's made a lot of the work I've produced a lot stronger because of that. And you'd like to think you've contributed to others as well. And I think it's much more. I think you have one-to-one time as well with Justine, which is really valuable. But I think having the you've got 7 minds in there looking at your project, just feels a lot stronger than if there was just 2 of you. And I think there's even though all of us were from quite different industries, there's a load of crossover that you don't really realise that you uncover, and how you can help each other out, and how you've got expertise that can help each other out. So that's been really strong. And I think in a way of making it in a very practical way, it's obviously made it much more affordable for us to go into a group where there's 7 of us rather than just one, where presumably it would cost 7 times more to be in that. So but I don't think it's any weaker for it. I think it's much stronger to do it like that. And I think because it's a small enough cohort as well, because there's 6 or 7, you do get to know everyone, and you do get to work alongside each other. In a way, if it was 15, 20, then it would feel unmanageable. You wouldn't make those connections, I think. But because it's small enough, you get the real strength of everyone's input, and everyone's very committed to it. So it's worked really, really well. Really well.
Brilliant.